All right, so for this little segment for Transparent Planet, we have the returning guest Slade Pacheco. Slade, thank you for joining.
How's it going? Appreciate you. Appreciate you.
Of course, of course. So, as some people might know, it's International Fight Week, and so they have UFC 317. Of course, you, me, and a few of our other friends are big UFC fans. So we just kind of want to see what your opinions are. Maybe break it down for us. Like we're seeing a lot of big fights, right? Two title fights, both the co-main and the main. We're seeing Ilya Taporia solidify his legacy, possibly, right? We're seeing Oliveira, a
Right.
veteran of the sport. So we're seeing like this kind of young prospect versus old veteran kind of theme come in, which is a big theme in the fighting game. And then, of course, for the co-main, we have Kai Kara France with Alexandre Pantoja. So, what would you say? What do you like most about this card? Like, what made it stand out for you?
To be honest, I love everything about this card. I mean, it's International Fight Week, so of course the UFC likes to stack up their International Fight Weeks for every year. It's the biggest week, well, the biggest event for 2025 as of, so far.
Right, right.
But yeah, I mean, this whole card is just going to be stacked. It's going to have banger fights back to back to back to back to
hmm
back to back to back. And even I'm even excited for some of the prelim fights. Like this is going to be a really good card. You know what I mean?
Right,
So
right. Yeah,
so
I
yeah.
even saw, like you said, some of the prelims were also really good too. Um,
Right, right,
but yeah, it's really good that they did this, for International Fight Week. I mean, they have to make it big. It's the only way, especially with Dana
right.
White and everything. So I guess before we get into the breakdown, because there is some background here to why this whole thing got, like the main card, why it turned out the way it is, and specifically the main event. So there was a lot of
Mhm.
buzz of Ilya and Islam Makhachev, that whole fight coming together. So a lot of people are saying, that Islam is ducking Ilya and vice versa. What do you think? Do you think it just, he has a champion, he can do whatever he wants, or you think there might be something deeper there as to why he moved up to welterweight?
For me, it's a little bit 50-50 because at the end of the day, you know what, Islam, he deserves to move up. He's
Mhm.
had defended his title like what 3 or 4 times. Like
Right,
he
right.
earns the opportunity to move up. But I mean, when you got someone like Ilya calling you out like that 24/7, like it's
Yeah.
almost worth staying down for one more title defense to move up. I mean, he's fighting JDM, and that's going to be his first title defense. It's a huge
hmm
title defense. I mean, that's
Right.
that's huge. But yeah, for me it's 50-50, but I would it's hard, it's kind of hard to say. It's
Right,
hard to
right. No,
say,
of
to be
course,
honest
of
with you.
course. Yeah, I mean
Right.
it is a double-edged sword, really. I mean, especially as a
Right.
champion, you can't have everyone like you. You're gonna have to make some moves for your own career for whatever reasons. And he's been wanting to move up now for a while. I remember like there were remnants of him talking about that, and he definitely seemed to have some sort of inclination to move up and get the double belt. It's a big thing for him. So I guess to start off with the main card fights here. So we have a lot of really good fights. I mean, Dariusha Moicano is a big talk, right? It's a big one everyone's talking about because really, I mean, maybe this might be a little bit of a different opinion, but I feel like Dariush right now is a little bit aging now. So I feel like if he doesn't take this,
Right.
his title contention opportunities might be out of the door. But at the same time, Moicano, he's an entertaining guy. He did really good at stepping up against Islam. So I give him a lot of respect for that. Where do you see that fight going? Like, what are the stakes there?
To be honest, I probably got Moicano by decision. I mean,
hmm
they're both pretty much aging veterans. Moicano is, I think, like 15 days younger or something like
hmm
that, or
Right.
15 days older. But yeah, I got Moicano by decision. I think it's going to be a closer fight, and I think the winner of this is going to earn a top five shot somewhere at the top
Right,
five.
right, 100%. I think it's kind of an underrated fight also because, they're just kind of old. Everyone just wants to see like the main Taporia, but no one really looks at sometimes like what these fights could also do for all the different divisions and what effects they could have, which I think is honestly, the best part of UFC is there's so many things, especially in International Fight Week, that can happen. So I think it's also gonna be a really good fight. Now, talking about prospects, Peyton Talbot, Felipe Lima. I know you are a fan of Talbot. We actually saw him fight, I think, previously when we were together, of
We
course, for a
did.
watch party. And since you like him so much, I was also inclined to tell you that I think, Talbot was going to win. Then you also said Lima is also a really good prospect. How do you see that shifting? Do you think Lima is going to pose a threat to Talbot?
I definitely think Lima's going to be posing a threat to Talbot. I mean,
Mhm.
they're trying to set up Talbot for victory here because obviously he's a fan favorite. The
Right.
UFC wants to see him rise up on the charts because
Mhm.
obviously that would promote more to the UFC. But you know what? After Talbot's last fight, he showed that he needs a lot of work on the ground. I mean, he lost that
Mhm.
last fight just predominantly just being on the ground. And you know what? Lima is a BJJ black belt. Sorry,
Right.
he's a BJJ black belt, and that's Talbot's weakness. To be honest, like
Mm.
him being on the ground for that long is gonna take him, is gonna drain him. And honestly, I could see Lima winning it by a submission, maybe in the
Mm.
later rounds, or
Wow.
maybe Talbot can take it in like an early knockout
Right. So
TKO. I mean, that's
he's
probably his best bet.
right. So he's definitely a good fighter, but his main asset is on the feet. You don't feel that he has much grappling assets there. Like,
No,
right, right. And especially Lima, like you said, being a black belt in BJJ, that makes sense that we're going to see that kind of overpower that. So it's a similar situation to some extent to Ilya versus Charles. Like Ilya's strong suit is on the feet. Not saying that Charles doesn't have good on the stand up either, but at the same time, Charles's asset is on the ground, grappling and all that. But at the same time,
right.
Ilya's grappling isn't too bad either. So this is kind of a more polarized in that sense, but you can also see kind of like one person with one asset, and it's similar in that aspect to where it's really a matter of whose assets shine first and whose assets are going to be proved to be more valuable in the fight. So I'm definitely interested to see that because that's really what the UFC is about, not just wrestlers against wrestlers and boxers against boxers. It's to see how well they can perform under guys of different caliber, under different skill sets, and how they can adjust and adapt. So I think that's definitely gonna be a good one, especially for people interested in all the prospect fights and everything like that. So I'm definitely interested in that.
100%.
So it's gonna be interesting. Do you think that there are any like really underrated, overlooked cards or overlooked fights rather in like the preliminaries and the prelims? I've seen this guy before, this Russian guy. I mean, that's not going to tell you anything about who he is in the UFC, but Vyacheslav Borshev, also a really interesting guy going against. I think I've also seen his opponent's name, Terrence McKinney, before. So there's definitely some,
That's Well,
yeah, we'll see how
yeah,
that
that's
goes.
definitely my pick for prelims. I'm a
Mm,
big fan of Terrence McKinney, T-Rex. He hasn't had much luck in the UFC. I mean, he's really back and forth,
right.
WL, WNL. So I mean, I think this would be a good step up for him. I know Borshev has been pretty good as of recently. So I mean,
Mm,
yeah, I mean, that would be a good fight. And right now I
mm.
see uh Terrence McKinney favored, slight favorite.
Yes, I
So
saw that
I think
too.
that would be a good one to see. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
For sure, for sure. I mean, it's always
So yeah,
interesting the Western, Eastern against each other. So I'm definitely curious to see that. Gregory Rodriguez, I've seen his name a few times as well. So that's also going to be interesting because
definitely.
he's
Yeah.
he's definitely still a veteran of the sport. Dariush Moicano. So yeah, a lot of people are very, back and forth on this one, and the odds show it, honestly. I mean, the odds.
Right.
Not much difference. I mean, Moicano is very slightly favored, but even that is, a toss-up. So, yeah, it's gonna be interesting. I mean, they're both great fighters, right? They're both aspiring to rise up. In terms of stakes, I mean, if we can just take a look here, in terms of stakes not crazy high, but like I said, Darius definitely needs that
Right.
strong win to stay in title, conversation. A lot of people are also talking about him already being like, oh, he's too old. He's not really going to do it. And Moicano right now is, I would say, his name definitely has more momentum as well. So that's also a question. I think a lot of people are going to be watching that fight, especially in their division, to see, who might they have next. So for the next fight in the main card. Of course, you have Joshua Van against Brandon Royval. I never seen Royval fight. I've seen Van. I like him a lot. I think he's a really good personality, humble guy, respectful, hardworking. He really puts everything he has in the cage, like most fighters. But still, it's nice to see that. especially emphasize. What do you think about that fight with Royval and Joshua Van?
I love it personally. I think Joshua Van is a rising superstar. I mean, he
Mhm.
literally just finished that fight like what, 3 weeks ago, 4 weeks ago,
Right.
and then he signed that deal literally the weekend of. I think it was the Monday or Tuesday after his fight, after he just went for a 3 round
Wow.
war, automatically going from 15 to number one. And I think if he
Mm.
beats Royval here in a decent fashion, I could see
Mhm.
him easily getting the title shot next,
Yeah. And I
easily.
like that from him to step up like that because usually people like go through a fight like that, like a huge, a very grueling fight, and they're like, oh, I'm gonna take I'm gonna relax, lay back, chill out for a few months, whatever. But I really like his ambition here because especially in the flyweight division, I mean, we're gonna talk about that later of why that's so important, but that level of ambition to keep, and take any opportunity you have, really. I really appreciate it. I think it's a really valuable thing to have. And so, yeah, he got a huge chance, like you just said, against Roy Val. I was actually surprised to see that, but sometimes the cards play like that, and he definitely has a big chance. So I would say it's definitely one of the highest stake fights right now for this
Definitely,
weekend.
100%.
And I hope he gets it done. I mean, I like the attitude. Do you think Roy Val? I mean, I definitely think they're going to go full out, but what would you say is each person's strength and like the keys to victory for that one, maybe?
Honestly, it's going to be on the feet. I think it's going to be on the feet for majority of
Mm,
the fight.
right,
Joshua Van is proven to be, obviously. I mean, we saw that last fight
right,
when
right.
on UFC 316.
Hmm.
I mean, that guy put on a stunning performance. It's gonna be close. I think it's gonna be really close. It's gonna
Mm,
be Joshua Van's true test to see if he really belongs up into the elites of the flyweight right now. But yeah, I think
right.
he stands a chance. I think he really does stand a chance.
Hmm. Right.
Not to discredit Royval, but
No, 100%. But that's another interesting thing I found is because here Royval's ranked number one, Van 12th, but that doesn't really say that much, the rankings about the skill
right.
level of some of these fighters. Like we just said, this number 12 could take out the number one. So it's really going to be interesting to see how that plays out. And I think that's also going to make Van's ambitions higher because he's going to realize how valuable of an opportunity he was given and how valuable it is to take more opportunities. So going into the co-main and the main, now a lot of people have been saying this, and this is what kind of I was introducing before, is the flyweight, the whole flyweight division is being completely dominated for quite a while now by Pantoja, right? So this is a big question for Kai Kara France, and no pressure for him. I mean, he's a great fighter, but it's going to be really interesting to see. Do you think he can take away the championship from Pantoja? Like, do you think that's likely, or what would you? How do you see that fight playing out?
Pantoja is just too good. I think he's just too
Mm,
good, to be honest with you. I mean, they
right,
did fight one time in the Ultimate Fighter, and that's, I guess, kind of where the rivalry started.
right, right.
Pantoja beat Kai Kara France there, and now they're both in the UFC, and now they're both fighting for the belt.
Yeah,
So I've always said
yeah.
since the beginning, before Pantoja was champion, that he was the dark horse of the entire division. I thought he was so good.
Hmm.
And yeah, I honestly see Pantoja winning by decision or a late round sub. I mean,
Hmm.
he's just
Yeah.
gonna bully Kai Kara France on the ground for
Mm.
the entire fight, I believe.
I see, I see. Well, yeah, I mean that is
So
the strong suit. Is
right,
the BJJ, the jujitsu on the ground grappling, everything. And a lot of people have pointed out that Kai Kara France definitely has to keep this on the feet if he wants to win. And really work
that's his
on that
best bet.
take down the fence, keeping him, Pantoja at distance. Because Kai Kara France definitely has, I would say, a decent amount of power behind his punches. So if he can maybe catch Pantoja because we've seen him, when he goes for the striking, sometimes it's more of like a flurry of punches, and so sometimes
Right,
he can't leave his guard open. So I guess there's a chance, but honestly, Pantoja's wrestling, like you said, I think he really is just too good right now in that division. So I mean, let me ask you this. This is a big hypothetical, but if he keeps protecting his title in the flyweight. Do you see him possibly moving up or maybe going for?
100%.
Yeah, definitely.
100%.
Hmm.
I think he will move up if he maybe even if he beats Kai Kara France here in a fashionable manner. I
Right.
think that might just earn him a shot to go for double champ status. I mean, he
Mm,
has like what 2 to 3 title defenses so
right.
far.
Hmm.
So I mean, yeah, I mean he's due. He's due for it.
Right, right. And
So I
that's
think
gonna be
him and
also
Marab would put
interesting.
on a good show.
Oof, I would love to see that.
Yeah,
I'd love to see that because
definitely, definitely.
Marab also has really good wrestling. I mean, his cardio, is essential for like on the ground stuff that Pantoja does. That's going to be really interesting because Marab can weather like a heavy on the ground thing cardio wise, right? Technically, maybe a little bit
Right.
different, but cardio wise, he can weather that. And as we've seen, he's also been on a tear in that division. So it's definitely interesting to see. I'll definitely like to see that in the future because Pantoja, I like him a lot too, but yeah, I think it's time for both him and everyone else to make it everything more interesting for him to pursue the second belt, right? It's a mutual benefit, as you would
Definitely.
say. Um, so
Definitely.
the big one, this is the one people have been talking about the most, right? Ilia Topuria, Charles Oliveira. Um, I would just like to say I like both fighters a lot. Oliveira, of course, is a veteran. He's been in the UFC for 10 plus years. His wrestling is amazing. He's fought a lot of really good fighters. I think some people might overlook that, like his resume. Ilia Topuria, I mean, his mindset is just unbelievable. I was watching some of the UFC embedded, the vlogs that they do. And he was already saying in the first vlog that he was literally saying, "I'm sorry, Charles," like as if he in his head he already won, which is actually kind of crazy
Right.
how focused he is in that sense and how much self-confidence he has. So as we see, I mean, in the main card, this is the fight where we see the biggest polarity in terms of the odds, right? Ilya is the most favored here. So do you think that's accurate? Like, do you think he really is that good and he's gonna finish it off? Like, is there that big of a chance for him to win compared to the other ones?
I mean, yeah, I mean, dude, he just took out two back-to-back great featherweights in dominant fashion. I mean, he knocked both of them out. So he definitely does have a reason to be minus 570, but at the same
Mhm.
time, you're doing it against the former lightweight champion. I mean,
That's what
that
I'm
guy
saying.
tore
Yeah.
through the light tore through the lightweight division at the time when he was champion. I mean, the olive era, that's what they called him. But
Mm.
yeah, I mean, I don't know. I think the odds are a little bit butchered. I think it should be a little bit closer, but minus
Hmm.
570, I mean, there's a reason I'm not in Vegas, you know what I mean? The odds
Right,
makers make
right.
the odds. So,
For sure, for sure.
but yeah. But yeah, I
Yeah.
can personally see this fight. Unfortunately, I'm gonna say Taporia is gonna get a TKO here, round
Hmm.
2 to 3. But I wouldn't count out Charles though, because like we've seen in the past, he gets knocked down. Some maybe if Taporia gets a little bit ahead of himself and he jumps on top, it's
Hmm.
Charles's world now. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Now he's got
Yeah.
his whole arsenal there, just ready to be
Hmm.
used. So
Yeah,
so
exactly. I
yeah,
mean, this is also a similar situation where it's just a matter of who uses their assets the best, like in terms of tailoring to the other person's game plan. They both had a lot of time to prepare for this fight. And Ilya, I like how you mentioned that he's gonna have to kind of be somewhat like careless if he is, and then Oliver can come in with the wrestling.
Mhm.
But at the same time, Ilya is known to be, I mean, I've watched some of his fights and he seems very meticulous. Like he feels his opponents out. Once he gets even like a good hit, he doesn't move in immediately. Even he knows how to stay back on the defense and kind of, once he feels that he has a spot or like a good momentum, then he goes for it. But yeah, I definitely think I'm gonna have to agree with you here. I think round 2 or 3, TKO or KO. Honestly, I'd love to see Oliveira win as well. I think, we talked about this
Definitely,
personally as well. You said you just wanted to see a good fight. I'm very much the same way. I think either way, it's going to be a good fight, because these are guys, they're not both wrestlers, they're not both boxers. So they're both going to challenge each other's strong suits. So we're really going to see that same theme, the boxing versus the wrestling again, which is
100%.
obviously what
Right.
the UFC is about. But yeah, no, I mean, so far we've agreed on everything, which is a good sign. Hopefully it
Yep.
goes
So
according to plan. Um,
yep.
but yeah, I mean, I definitely think that the odds though should be adjusted there for that. But that really doesn't show that much. I mean, a real fan would look at the stats and everything, and then you could be able to tell. also based on the
Right, exactly.
previous track records. So, well, I think that's everything. Thank
Perfect.
you again for tuning in and taking the time out of your day for this. And yeah, if you guys have any thoughts in the comments how this might go, let us know. But that'll be all. Thank you.